Alright, here we have the GE washer. Here's the display panel of it. I'm going to open the lid. Now here's the model. Before you begin anything, ensure that you disconnect the washing machine and disconnect the water lines, as well as the drain. You can do this by using a pair of channel locks to disconnect the water lines. Here we have the back of the washing machine. Now what we're going to do is flip everything towards the front, have it draining into the washing machine. Going to look at this back panel for the screws. Down here at the bottom, going to actually use the channel locks to open this clamp, slide it back. Now, with having the clamp off, we're going to take this panel off with a 1/4 inch screw using a 1/4 inch nut driver. Now here we have the new pump. Gonna look inside here, shine a light so that you can see the old pump and what the issue is. Now this is the hose that leads to it. So if you look at the back of this hose, you see the pink clamp. We'll use the channel locks to open that clamp, but there is actually the pump. You can see the residue on the pump. There it is. So that's why we are replacing this pump. Now you're going to lay the washing machine down on its backside so that you can access the water pump. Here it is, and you will actually use a 10mm socket to disconnect the bolts. There's also a wiring harness coming off of the side, and that will also need to be disconnected. This is another pump. This one actually looks good, so we're going to leave that one alone. This black cover right here will also need to be removed with using the 10mm socket. There are 3 bolts on here. So we're going to disconnect this now. Here's the clamp on the bottom from previously, the pink clamp I referenced. Leads over to this casing. There's the wiring harness. Here's the wiring harness that connects to the bottom. So now we're going to disconnect these 3 10mm bolts. Locate the 3 on yours. As you can see, I already disconnected this one on the bottom. Here's this one right here. I left it hand tight just so that you can see how it'll actually pull away from the unit. So here we go. Once you take all 3 off, now you can access the internal components, particularly this wiring harness over here on the side. Now here we have the harness disconnected. Now there's actually a clip right here that it was clamped to. The new harness comes with a clip, so we will pull this one out later. This is part of the clamp that was holding the harness secured. It was a zip tie. Now I'm going to use channel locks to open up this clamp, and 10mm socket to loosen these bolts. Here's a look at the new pump. Alright, now here's the clamp for the new one. it will be resecured back here. Here's the old one. Pulled it out and removed it. Now you'll remove this. That was actually part of the old one. The new pump comes with the new one. I go ahead and wipe this out, clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to secure it on. Alright, now we've wiped it off. We're going to go ahead and put it in place. Make sure everything routes over correctly. As you can see, everything matches up. Here's the new harness, which will be resecured back over here. There's only one way for it to secure. Then we will reattach the hose back down here on the bottom. Something I would recommend is also refer back to previous videos or video portions. Now here are the 3 bolts. In case you ever have any question, you can always refer back to previous parts of the video. But here are the 3 bolts. We'll resecure them now. Here's the 10mm socket. There we go. Alright, now we have all 3 of the 10mm bolts secured back to the washing machine. Now we will connect the harness back over to this location. There we go, we have the harness resecured, and now we can go ahead and pop this clip in. As you can see, it just pops in through the hole. Now we're going to use the drain line put back onto the pump. Using the channel locks, opened up the clamp again, resecured it back to the pump. Make sure that the hose is all the way up and that it's snugly fit. Now using the 3 10mm bolts, we can resecure this cover back over There are 3 of them. Once that is resecured, now you can go ahead and stand the washing machine back up. We will pull this hose back out the other end, and we will go ahead and feed it through this panel. There's only one way for it to go back on. You'll see the little grooves that it just pops back in, and then we will put the 1/4" screw back on. Here's the 1/4" socket. We'll use this to put that 1/4" screw securing the panel back on. Alright, now we've popped it back in place, the drain line. As you can see, it's seated back in place. There is a groove on the right side. We will slide this little sheet metal panel back in. You'll see it on the right side. These are the screws that secure the hose back in place. So we'll put those back in with this Phillips screwdriver. Then we will slide this panel back in place. As you can see, it can only go back in one way. And then we'll put the 1/4" screw back in. Alright, so put the screw in this location, making sure that it's flush. Now we're going to reattach the drain line that was removed earlier. Again, we're going to use the channel locks to open up the clamp. Slide this slide the hose all the way back. And then we're going to seat the clamp in the middle of the little groove area. Kind of give it a little bit of a tug if you have to, just to make sure that it is seating properly. There we go. That's what it's going to look like once you're done. You can kind of pull on it a little bit. You'll see it's not moving. It is snugly fit to it. Slide the washing machine back in place. Put the drain line back down the center. Reconnect your hot water or cold water. Plug it back in. And you have now repaired your washing machine. Alright, once again, here's the old pump. So while you're watching this video, feel free to pause it while you're trying to do this repair yourself. I could not find another video or tutorial of any form online for my particular washing machine, and I figured that someone else probably is going to need this information. Here's actually a close-up of the QR code. You could actually scan the QR code to find yours, or you could actually look it up by the model number. Just make sure that bolt pattern is the same for whenever you're resecuring it back to your washing machine. But the model itself is it's universal. It can only be one way. Here's just a close-up of the buildup of what was taking place. It was actually dripping water onto the floor. My wife, she found it, so that's what started this process. But anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and leave comments below. Let me know what you think about this tutorial. Thank you.